Tangled Secrets, Book 3 of the Mirror Estate series. Written by S.F. Baumgartner. Read by Paige Reisenfeld and P.J. Freeborn. Audio production by A.B. Book Services.
Epigraph. Drug trafficking is a global illicit trade involving the cultivation, manufacture, distribution, and sale of substances which are subject to drug prohibition laws. UNODC, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.
Prologue. December 20th. Park Hills Private School. In the bustling school auditorium, whispered chatter further tinted the air already thick with the scent of pine from the festive decorations. Grace Benson, her heart aflutter, perched at the grand piano, her fingers ready to dance over the keys. This was her moment, her first time directing the school's Christmas program, and she'd embraced it with both hands. As the lights dimmed, she took a deep breath, steadying herself. No time for fretting now. The first class, a group of third graders, shuffled onto the stage, their faces alight. From there, the night progressed in a whirl of color and sound. Each class brought their unique flair to the stage, performing dances and songs they'd practiced for weeks. Then the finale arrived, the nativity scene. She'd taken great care in selecting children from each grade, from kindergarten to fourth grade, to participate. The stage transformed into a serene Bethlehem scene, complete with a manger and makeshift stable. The children, dressed in their costumes, took their positions with a seriousness that belied their years. Mary and Joseph, played by a pair of fourth graders, stood by the manger. As she began the gentle, familiar strains of Silent Night, the children started their performance. The shepherds, a group of second graders, entered from stage left, followed by the wise men adorned in sparkling costumes. The angels, a chorus of kindergartners and first graders, flanked the stage, their voices joining in the song to create a heavenly sweetness that seemed to lift the entire auditorium. Smiling, she watched from her piano. The children were more than rising to the occasion. They were shining. Of course, the audience was mostly family members, guardians, and relatives. A lot of them slid their phones up to record when their kids took the stage. As the evening's last notes faded and the auditorium began to empty, parents approached her, each of them beaming. Their words washed over her, filling her with a warm sense of accomplishment. She greeted every compliment with a humble smile, her heart still racing from the night's success. Amid the departing crowd, Mrs. Montez, the mother of one of the kindergarten angels, made her way toward her. Her face was alight as she began in Spanish, her words tumbling out in a fluid lyrical stream. Caught off guard, Grace managed a smile. "Solo hablo un poco de español," she inserted, her accent betraying her lack of fluency. The woman's eyebrows shot up, a reaction she had seen before. She could almost read the thoughts behind that astonished look. Her being Latina often led people to assume she could speak Spanish. After the last of the parents had left and the children were safely in their care, she began to pack her things up. "Are you ready to go?" Jenny, one of the school secretaries, hollered from the back. "It's dark out. Ned wants to know if you need help carrying things." "No, I'm good. But tell your husband thank you from me. We're coming back to clean up this mess tomorrow anyway." School closed for the Christmas break until the first week of the new year. But Grace and those who helped with the program had to clean up. "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow." With the school quiet now, she stood alone in the empty auditorium. As she locked the piano and gathered her music sheets, a shadow caught the corner of her eye. She turned toward the door. Did Jenny come back? "Jenny, is that you? Ned?" Silence. She was imagining it. That was it. She gathered her things and headed out to the parking lot. After dumping her stuff in the back seat, she got in front and started the car. The drive home was less than 10 minutes, but a pair of headlights had stayed behind her since she left the parking lot. She turned into her apartment complex. The headlights stuck with her. Heart pounding, she remembered reading a post on social media about situations like this. Instead of parking, she turned back around, headed to the closest police station, entered the lot, and honked. An officer came out. "Ma'am, is there a problem?" "Yeah, a car is following me." She twisted in her seat to point it out, but it was, of course, gone. He looked to where she pointed. "Stay here, ma'am." He walked to the curb, checked up and down the street, and came back. "Sorry, ma'am. I don't see any car out there stopping or acting suspicious." The officer offered to escort her back to her apartment building. She accepted the offer. She knew the car was there. Or perhaps it was simply traveling in the same direction? But why follow her to her apartment complex? Then again, why would anyone follow her? Chapter 1. December 26th. Mirror Estate. Sheila. "I need help. I think my husband is a spy," Sheila Mitchell declared as soon as she walked in the door, her urgency seeming to drop the room's temperature a few degrees. Ron Peters, her ex-husband, and Kyle, their adult son, exchanged puzzled glances. They were both square-jawed men, Kyle about an inch taller than his dad, their careers in the FBI evident in their no-nonsense demeanor. "What kind of spy? Industrial spy? Corporate espionage?" Kyle asked as he led her to a room off the foyer, gestured for her to sit on the beige velvet couch, and took a seat in a matching chair. Ron followed and sat in an accent chair across from her. "Has something happened?" She shook her head, took a deep breath, and clenched her hands in her lap. If anyone could make sense of her fears, it would be these two. "No, I mean like James Bond." Ron arched his brow. "And what made you think that?" "It's just... things have been weird lately. Doug has been taking secret phone calls, disappearing for hours. I found a second cell phone in his drawer." "I'm sorry, Mom, but, Kyle shifted in his seat. "Could he just be, having an affair?" She twisted her fingers together, her knuckles turning white beneath the pressure. "But how do you explain his abandoning credit cards and going cash-based altogether? We're not on any credit counseling, and I overheard him speaking in Spanish and some other strange languages. I didn't even know he spoke so many languages. I don't know what to think anymore." "Okay." Ron held up a hand. "Have you confronted him about this?" "I'm scared to. What if he's involved in something dangerous?" Her voice trembled. She flexed her shaky hands in her lap and surveyed the luxurious decor. Vaulted ceilings crowned an elegantly furnished front room. A chandelier, worthy of a small palace, sparkled overhead. Voices and the rustle of people milling around drifted from the deeper interior. When had Ron become friends with people who lived in places like this? Her gaze drifted to the bay windows overlooking an expanse of lawn framed by towering trees on acres of land. Clearly, her ex-husband had contacts that existed in a different tax bracket altogether. She frowned. "You're not here on a case?" "No." Head tipped to one side, Kyle gave her an "are you serious" look. "Back when you asked me, I wouldn't have known we'd be called out on a case. We're here for a Christmas party." "Oh, I just thought... never mind." It was the day after Christmas, but during their marriage, Ron was always working. Holidays meant nothing to him. One of the reasons they split. Her ex-husband braced his hands on his knees, leaning forward, his gaze meeting hers. "Listen, what you told us doesn't seem like much, but for your peace of mind, we'll look into it discreetly. In the meantime, I suggest you go about your business. Unless he starts threatening you, don't fret too much." She exhaled, her stomach tightening into knots. How ironic to be here, seeking help from her FBI ex-husband about her current husband, whom she suspected of espionage. A young man rounded the corner and approached. His smile radiated a disarmingly casual charm. "Grandma sent me," he announced, grinning at Kyle. "She'd like to invite your guest to join in the fun." Kyle nodded. "Mom, this is Dylan Roche. His grandmother is Carol Marino. Dylan, my mom, Sheila Mitchell." Marino. The name clicked like a missing puzzle piece snapping into place. She'd heard about M&M Enterprises. Other than real estate development, they were also the parent company of Marino Hotels worldwide. Their headquarters was in Orlando. So, Mirror Estate, with its sprawling acres and gated luxury, belonged to the Marino family. That's the league Ron and Kyle were in these days. Dylan's smile never wavered as he led them down a grand hallway. The murmuring voices grew louder when they approached an opulent set of double doors. With a flourish, Dylan swung them open and ushered her into a room pulsing with holiday energy and sweet with sumptuous treats. As soft strings of a quartet in the corner underplayed the conversations, an elegant older woman sat amid her joyous guests, a commanding presence even as she chatted with a priest with thinning hair. After Dylan introduced Sheila to his grandmother and Father Phil and the others, she scanned the room and paused at a familiar face. Simon Roth, the senator who resigned recently. By his side stood a striking Asian American woman, Olivia, his new fiancée if she caught the name right, and Lily Roth, their daughter, who looked too young to be holding a cocktail. From the way Kyle introduced her, Lily meant something to him. But then Lily and Dylan looked pretty cozy together. Nearby, another woman caught her attention, Asian as well. Introduced as Clara, she was deep in conversation with her husband, Dr. Michael Corey. Their daughter, Faith, chatted with Lily, and their teenage son, Jason, ignored it all, engrossed in his phone. Next to him stood another young man about Kyle's age. Someone said he was Tommy, Dylan's best friend. He and Jason appeared to be playing some games on their phones. And there was Eva Higgins, Kyle's childhood friend. What was she doing here? Ah, so Clara was Eva's aunt. Small world. Miss Marino stood up and stepped forward with a smile.
"It's a pleasure to finally meet you."
"The pleasure is mine," Sheila replied, still somewhat overwhelmed by the glittering social tapestry she'd walked into. After a decent amount of time mingling and engaging in small talk, she felt it was time to go. She caught Ron's and Kyle's attention from across the room and subtly gestured toward the exit. They made their way over to her.
"I should head out."
"Okay. We'll look into your concerns about Doug. You'll hear from us soon." Ron clamped a hand on her shoulder. "In the meantime, try to relax. Have a good rest of the holidays."
"Thanks. You too."
Though how would she manage that while anxious about what they might uncover? Her shoulders already somewhat lighter since she'd given away part of her burden, she made her way to Ms. Marino, who was finishing a conversation with the former senator.
"Ms. Marino, just want to say goodbye. The estate is very beautiful."
Ms. Marino stood up again.
"Thank you. I hope to see you again soon."
"Likewise." Sheila returned the smile, then gave a polite nod to the senator and the others in their circle. After saying her farewells, she walked out of the Mirror Estate, her heels clicking against the marbled floors. The grand double doors closed behind her, sealing off a world she was only beginning to understand. As she drove, she rehashed the reason she'd been there in the first place. Was she overreacting? Maybe Doug was having an affair. How oddly relieving that would be. Or would it be? What was worse? She shivered. Hopefully, Ron and Kyle would discover the answers. Chapter 2, January 2nd, M&M Enterprises. Lily. A tingle with anticipation, Lily Roth walked into the office building. After completing the Accelerated Management Trainee Program, she was stepping into her new role, and it was no small task. No longer a glorified secretary, a role she filled back in Hong Kong, she was now in charge of the Merino Private Select accounts, an elite VIP program catering to the wealthy and frequent guests. A trial by fire of sorts, given that she was new, but she'd shadowed the outgoing manager before the holidays. She crossed her fingers and quickened her pace. She couldn't afford to mess this up. Her neat and organized workspace beckoned, and her humming laptop awaited her commands. She settled into her chair and took a deep breath, ready to delve into her responsibilities. Just as she was about to log in, Tommy poked his head into her office. Yes, she had an office. Small, but an office nonetheless. "Morning." He slapped the door jamb, his grin too chipper for so early. "Let's grab coffee." Lily hesitated, eyeing the computer screen, then Tommy. He hiked his eyebrows, waiting. While he seemed like he already had too much caffeine, she really could use a cup. But she couldn't give the impression she was too relaxed on her first day. Then Dylan stopped beside Tommy. "Cute haircut." She glanced at her reflection on the darkened computer screen. Her long hair lost about 4 inches. The stylist had layered it and told her she looked more professional in this new stylish do. "Thanks. A new hairstyle for the new year and a new job." "I approve. So it's not 8 yet. You've got a few minutes. Let's go." He jerked a thumb toward the hall, his eyes twinkling with the sort of mischief that made it hard to say no. "All right." She stood and followed them to the elevator. "Where are we going? I thought we were going to the lounge." "Nah, we're going down to the cafe. Your first day. A little celebration is in order." Dylan held the elevator door open for her. "But—" "No but." Tommy entered after her, blocking her in. "Remember who you're talking to. The heir to the empire." Dylan gave an eye roll at the dig. Then after the elevator released them, he led the way into the cafe, where well-spaced glass-topped tables interspersed with thriving money trees, all lit by a bank of windows, offered a relaxing vibe amid the downtown hustle. The morning hostess greeted them and showed them to a table. They frequented the shops down on the retail floors enough to recognize the faces. "Are you getting used to being Lily Roth?" Tommy asked as a server poured coffee for them. "Yeah." Lily grinned and brought the cup up for a sip. "People won't keep asking, 'Where are you from?'" Tommy quirked a brow. "I didn't." "That's because you knew and we went to Hong Kong to pick her up." Dylan turned his cup in his hand, frowning at the steam. "Do people really ask that?" "Not all the time, just enough to be annoying." She pressed her palm to the warm cup. "Just because my name is, well, was so, doesn't mean I'm not American." "That's right. So?" Tommy drummed his hands on the table, drawing the word out like an MC at an event. "Ready for your first day?" "I think so." She frowned at the smudges his handprint left. She'd better not mess up whatever had her fingerprints on it today. "It's a big responsibility, and I don't want to screw it up, you know?" "We've all been there." Dylan reached across to pat her hand. "The first week is always a whirlwind, but you'll get the hang of it. And if you ever have questions or get stuck, don't hesitate to ask," Tommy added. "Rhonda filled in for a few days once. Ask her if you need help." "Thanks, guys. I appreciate it." She settled back in her padded chair, more relaxed than when she walked into the office. The guys ordered pastries, but she declined. She had breakfast already and didn't need the extra calories. The clock ticked closer to 8. "I should get going." She pushed back her chair, the metal legs grating on the tiled floor. "Big day ahead. Speaking of, you have a big day too. Mom said you guys were going to see your aunt today, Dylan." He nodded. "Might as well get it over with. See what she wants." "Well, be careful." After all, his aunt, a notorious criminal mastermind, tried to kill him last year. Now she was in federal custody pending litigation and deals. "I will, and you have a great first day." As she was leaving, Tommy murmured, "Aren't you gonna tell her?" Huh? She slowed her steps, but she was too far away to hear Dylan's response. Her heart fluttered. Was he going to profess his feelings for her? No. She shook her head. They hadn't even gone on an official date yet. On the other hand, she'd gone out with Kyle a couple of times. When she met Kyle, she felt a connection. Now she wondered if that had been nothing more than infatuation. Stop thinking about them. Time to work.